Today, doctors treat a real genetic disease by giving patients blood-derived medicine, not superstition, an actual modern treatment. This disease made bodies attack themselves in ways that lined up, symptom for symptom, with the vampire myth. Here is the disease that made monsters medical. In 1892, a Rhode Island family buried their daughter Mercy Brown, then dug her back up. Her family was dying one by one, wasting away from a disease no one understood, tuberculosis. Neighbors believed something evil was draining the family's life force while they slept. When they opened Mercy's grave 2 months after burial, her body looked strangely preserved. Blood had pooled in her heart and mouth. Proof, they said, that she had been feeding. They cut out her heart, burned it to ash, and made her sick brother inhale the smoke. This cure was supposed to stop the vampire's curse from spreading through the family. Mercy wasn't alone. Dozens of similar exhumations happened across New England in the 1800s. Doctors had no idea tuberculosis was an airborne bacterial infection passed easily between people sharing a home. So when one family member died, then another, it looked like something supernatural was hunting them. Newspapers ran headlines calling it vampirism, and the disease's old name, consumption, wasn't a coincidence. But tuberculosis only explains the fear of contagion. It doesn't explain the fangs or the bite. The next disease didn't kill slowly at all. It turned people aggressive, made them recoil from light and water, and spread through a bite, exactly like the monster in the stories. Rabies doesn't just infect animals. For centuries, it terrified doctors with how it warped human behavior. Infected people became hypersensitive to light, sound, and smells, flinching from things that shouldn't hurt. They also developed a horrifying fear of water, even while desperately thirsty, a symptom called hydrophobia. In late stages, patients became aggressive, biting anything near them and spreading the virus through saliva. In 1721, a documented rabies outbreak swept Hungary, right where vampire folklore was exploding at the same time. Victims foamed at the mouth, couldn't sleep, and were said to wander at night, just like the undead. Some rabies patients report an intensified, sickening reaction to strong smells. Garlic among them. Facial and throat spasms could make sufferers recoil violently at sudden gestures, including a waved cross. The disease spread specifically through a bite, one victim literally creating the next. A Spanish neurologist in the 1990s argued rabies outbreaks lined up almost perfectly with reported vampire panics. Light sensitivity, aggression, biting, insomnia, fear of water and mirrors. The overlap was too precise to ignore. But rabies kills within days, and the myth needed victims who lingered, decayed, and returned. The next disease didn't kill quickly either. It left bodies looking like they'd been feeding on the living, weeks after they were buried. Long before germ theory, grieving villagers sometimes dug up graves searching for proof of evil. What they found looked impossible. Bodies that seemed plumper and more alive than the day they died. It was ordinary decomposition. Gas buildup bloats the body and pushes blood toward the skin. That same pressure can force dark fluid up through the nose and mouth, resembling fresh blood. Skin shrinks back from nails and hair follicles, making both appear to have grown after death. To people with no forensic science, this looked like proof the corpse had been drinking blood at night. Some coffins even showed scratch marks inside, now blamed on shifting bodies or burrowing animals, not the living dead. Communities responded by staking, decapitating, or reburying bodies face down to stop them from wandering. In 1725, a Serbian case named Peter Plagojewicz triggered an official government investigation into suspected vampirism. Austrian officials examined his exhumed body, documented the fresh blood and growth, and their report spread across Europe. That single report helped push the word vampire into mainstream European language for the first time. Decomposition explained the corpse. but never the ones still walking around, alive, and seemingly allergic to daylight. That last detail traces back to a real, still diagnosed genetic disease, one where doctors once prescribed patients to drink blood as actual medicine. Porphyria is a real, rare genetic blood disorder still diagnosed today, and its symptoms read like a vampire checklist. It can stain teeth reddish-brown and shrink gums back until teeth look longer and sharper. Sunlight triggers painful blistering and burns, forcing sufferers to avoid daylight and move mostly at night. Skin can turn pale and thin, scarring over time, sometimes leading to visible facial disfigurement. Certain forms of porphyria are worsened by sulfur compounds in garlic, which can trigger painful attacks. In some porphyria types, the body can't properly produce heme, the molecule that makes blood red. Modern doctors found that infusing patients with heme, the molecule missing from their blood, could ease attacks. Today, heme replacement therapy is the real doctor-prescribed treatment, echoing what the cold open described. Families with no name for the disease saw a relative fearing sunlight and craving blood, and feared the worst. Modern genetics confirms porphyria runs in families, explaining why whole villages sometimes reported multiple vampires from one bloodline. Every core trait, sun sensitivity, blood craving, disfigured teeth, family clustering,